welcome back to Vanircreations tutorials. This week we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful double Dreamcatcher macrame wall hanging. We've got a Dreamcatcher shape on the top and a mooncatcher shape on the bottom. We're going to be teaching you how to attach them together, as well as all the usual macrame knots that we normally have in our tutorials. For the DIY kit you can pick your own colours, there will be 3. We've picked natural for colour 1, rust for colour 2 and emerald green for colour 3. We'll list down below how much you will need of each, but in the kit you will have everything that you need in there. You'll also need a 21 MDF hoop, a 16 MDF moon hoop, 50 centimetres of thick wire, this one's about 3mm, some beads and some thick thread. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a glue gun to glue down the ends on the mooncatcher shape. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and other than that, let's get into it.
We're going to tie it on in just a normal overhand knot, just once like this. It's just a simple overhand knot, like that. Then we're going to put the end of the string down the hoop like this, and we're going to wrap around it. Keep your string on the spool because it'll make it easier when you're wrapping it. You won't get the string tangled or anything. Now we're going to wrap around, but as we're wrapping that end of the string onto the hoop. So just keep wrapping round like this, so that that piece of string is underneath where you're wrapping. Now when you come in towards the end, keep wrapping. Right round to where you tied it before. And then leave about 20 centimetres so you can tie around the hoop. And we're just going to go around like this and then part it in two, so part the string into 2 pieces like this, and then wrap around, tying just in one normal overhand knot and then another one, just like that. And that should secure it, so just cut them ends off, and there you have your hoop all wrapped in colour 1, which is natural.
For your first step, get your moon hoop shape and your 4mm natural cord. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie it on. Just an overhand knot, just a single one, not a double. And then we're going to wrap the cord around the moon hoop shape. And just make sure when you get to this stage, can you see that all these are going diagonally? Well, on this side, they're all straight. And how I'm doing that is, when I'm wrapping it, I'm pushing it up. So I wrap. And then I'll push these ones up like this, so then it stays straight all the way along. So this side looks perfect. This is the side that I'll put forward facing, and this is the back. And that's what will happen if you don't keep pushing it up. You want it all straight like this.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me, we meant to be.
And then when you come to this stage, you just need to cut that off. And then get your glue gun. So when you've heated your glue gun up, put a line of glue just on the tip. And then wrap it around the glue.
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back
And just squeeze it together at,
to see the truth
and then just squeeze it together at the end there,
from a
right to the end, then cut these ends off. And then glue them down.
meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me.
And I just use like the nose of the glue gun to kind of
In the great outdoors,
pop them down, because I don't want to use my finger because it's boiling hot.
forever free.
There you go, that's that. I'll do the same on this side. Just take that knot off first. And that's that end done. Doop doop. And now we're going to do the web. Now we're going to do the Dreamcatcher web. So what you're going to do is get your thick thread and tie it to the hoop, just in a normal overhand knot. So I've tied it in an overhand knot about 5 times. And then we're going to start webbing. So first we measure about 6 centimetres. An easy way of doing this is measuring 6 centimetres and cutting a piece of cardboard at 6 centimetres. And then you can use that as your measuring device. So I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to go round my hoop, through the back, but I'm going to go through this loop now that we've created. So go through it. And then pull it. As you can see, don't pull it too tight. Make sure it's got a bit of bounce in it. And then do the same thing again. Now we're going to go around here. So go round, round the back, and then up inside the loop. Again. Up inside the loop, so you just go measure 6 centimeters, go around it, and then through, and then just keep going all the way around. Now we've gone round the whole hoop, you can see now that we're linking back up to where we started before. I'm just going to cut off this end here. Now we're going to lift up the loop that we've previously made here, and I'm going to put the cord through it, the thick thread through it. So can you see I've put it through that loop, and now every time you're going to be lifting each loop up and putting your thick thread through it. Lift it up and put your thick thread through it. On to the next one. Lift it up, thick thread through, lift up. And now we've come back round again, but all we keep doing now is the next loop along, you just keep pulling it out. So now we're going to the next, like the next layer almost, so you just pull the next one out now. I'll just keep going round. So when you've done 4 layers of your web, we're going to cut your thick thread off like this, and then we're going to add your beads. So I'm going to add these and then I'll show you in what order I've added them after I've done it. So now I've added all my beads. I've added 1 small natural, then my coloured bead which I've gone with rust, then 2 small natural, a large natural, 2 small natural, a coloured bead, and so on. So you can see what order I have added my beads in there. Take a good look at that. Make sure you add your beads in the same way, or you could make your own pattern if you wanted to, that's completely fine. Now I'm going to tie my beads to the thread that I cut earlier in just a normal overhand knot. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. And I'm going to tie it about 5 times so it's very tight. This is why you need thick thread, so then it doesn't snap or anything. So I've made a very strong knot there. I'm going to cut the ends off. Make sure you don't cut it too close because it will unravel. That's strong enough. And now we're going to web your beads onto your Dreamcatcher. So you just literally carry on the exact same way as you were doing before. So you would take the next segment, lift it up, the next loop, and pop through. So you're literally pretending that the beads aren't even on it, and you're just continuing the exact same pattern as you did before. And I'm going to go all the way around. Now when you've gone all the way around, you're just going to space out your beads by just threading them through like this. So when you've spaced out all your beads, just carry on webbing. So just keep going through the segments. If you've got beads on, just ignore them, just carry on as you were doing before. And now we're going to keep doing this, weaving our web until we come closer to the centre. So you just keep going round and round and round now. So when you come in close to the centre, it can get a little more fiddly. So just keep pulling out your thread so that you can fit your spool through, because it becomes a lot tighter. And then we need to check if it's tight enough yet. So we need to pull. Mine was, you need to make sure you've got enough give to pull that. So mine was, so make sure it's quite bouncy like I said before. If it's too tight, you can always open it again. Let's get something in there like your finger. And open up again and keep webbing. But mine is actually okay. So I'm going to pull mine, I'm going to cut the thread so I've got a bit of length to play with, and I'm going to tie it. So now we're going to tie a knot in the centre so it stays secure. So what we need to do is
pass your thread through one of the segments, down, and then up through one directly opposite it. But when you're going to do that, you're going to pull it through this loop here. So make sure the loop is around where you're pulling up. So can you see it's going to go like that? Now I'm going to do the same thing again. Down through one segment, up through another, and then pull up. Down through one segment, up through another. So you're just literally tying a knot in the centre of it. Up through another, make sure it comes through this loop, so then it kind of goes into a knot. And I've done that 3 times there. That should be tight enough. And then cut, but not too close, so that it stays secured. Now you can space out your beads even more if you want to, if they're not looking like they're in the correct place, or we can do that later. Your beads can always be moved, and that's the Dreamcatcher part of our tutorial. Onto the web for the moon shape. First you just need to tie your thick thread onto the tip of your moon about 5 times. And then cut that end off there. And now I'm going to use the same piece of cardboard that I used in the first web. The mooncatcher webs I find much easier than the dreamcatcher webs, so hopefully this one's going to be a lot simpler for you too. So again, measure, and then we're just going to go round like we did with the other one, so round the back and through the loop. So it's just the same technique that you were using with the Dreamcatcher. Just make sure you go through that loop. Round the back and through. And just keep doing that. And then when you've got to the other side, tie it off a couple of times like this, going through the loop. And then we're going to go back the other way now. So pull out your loops like this and pop your thick thread through. And go all the way back to the other side. And then when you've got to this side, make sure you tie it again at least 3 times so that it doesn't come loose, because after this we're going to add our beads onto the thread and we're going to cut that off like so. Now we're going to add our beads. Just make sure the end of your thread is very sharp so you can get the beads onto it. Now I'm going to add the beads, and I'll show you after the time lapse what order I add the beads in.
As you can see here, this is the order I've added the beads in. One small, one big, then two small, then one big. Now I'm going to tie that onto the end of my mooncatcher shape. Just a normal overhand knot. 3 times, 4 times. And just one more for good luck. Oh, no, another one. And I'll just cut that little end off there, sticking up. And now we're going to go back through the next segments with the beads. All the way around to the other side. Then when you get to the other side, just go around the edge again a couple of times to secure it. And then leave the thread on after this, don't cut it off. And spread your beads out. And after you've done this, keep going back and forth. Now when you've done 2 more layers of your web, you're going to add your next beads, like this. When you've webbed your beads onto the mooncatcher shape, do 1 more line of webbing and then that should be it. Just make sure you tie it off a few times and cut your thick thread off, and that's your mooncatcher web complete. Now cut a length of string about 20 centimetres and get a few cords from that, pull a few fibres out and tie it onto the top of your moon shape. This will be cut off afterwards, but we're just using this so we can do the macrame on the bottom. So just tie it in just normal overhand knots about 3 or 4 times, like this. And I cut off the ends. And then do the exact same with your dreamcatcher shape. Find the top where you want the cord to go. Get some more from the same piece of string. Some more threads, and then just tie it to the top of your dreamcatcher shape like this. Then cut them ends off, and then it's onto the macrame. Next we're going to add lark's head knots. I've cut 10 lengths at 140 centimetres. I'm just adding it here in a lark's head knot. So we go round the back, round the front, open up and put these 2 through.
and we're going to add all 10 140 centimetre lengths to the bottom. So now we're going to do the square knot. So take the 4 cords in the centre. These are going to be your working cords, and the 2 centre ones your filler cords. So grab this one here on the right, pop it in front of the 2 filler cords and under this one on the left. Then grab this one on the left and put it under everything, but pop it through this loop. Then pull these 2, then do it the opposite way. Grab the one on the left, pop it in front of the 2 filler cords, this one on the right here in front of that, and then pop this one on the right, right behind and through this loop. And then I'm going to do one to the left of this. Feel free to rewind this video and watch how to do the square knot again. Now I'm going to take these 4 cords in between these 2, and I'm going to do another square knot. And the same again in between these 2 square knots, 2 from this one, 2 from this one. And then I'm going to do one last square knot here. After we've done that, we're going to do the double half hitch. So I'm going to grab the cord here, that's right on the right of this middle pattern. Then I'm going to grab the next cord underneath it, bring it underneath, and then over and round. Then I'm going to do the same again, over and round, and then I'm going to pull it up like this. And there's your first double half hitch. Again, grab the next cord and go over and then over and through. Then I'm just going to pull it up like this. The next cord now, it's called the double half hitch because you go around twice. And then pull up. Now we're going to do the opposite side. So grab this one here at the left of the centre design and then the one next to it. Then we're going to go over this way and round. Again, over. Make sure you've got enough space and round. And then just pull up. Then I'm going to grab the next cord and do the same thing. And then grab these two cords at the end and just do a normal, simple overhand knot. Brings it all together. Now we're going to do a square knot here and a square knot here. And then I'm going to come down and grab the next 4 knots here that just lie underneath, and I'm going to do another square knot that just lies underneath like that, so that it's straight, not diagonal. And I'm going to do one on this side as well, so it's the first 4 cords on each side underneath the pattern. And then we're going to grab these 4 cords in the centre here, including these 2, and we're going to do another square knot. Then you're going to grab the cord right on the side here, and we're going to do some double half hitch. So grab the next cord and do a double half hitch. Round and round. And there's your diagonal line on that side. Now we're going to do the same on this side. And then get the 2 cords here and just do a normal overhand knot. Now I'm going to add these rust lengths in 2 meters. I'm going to add 4 to each side using reverse lark's head knots. And then add a square knot to the first 4, and then the second 4 on each side. And then 1 to the centre, so I'll just choose the centre 4 here. I'll just do a square knot there. Then grab your very end cord here on the right, and again we're going to do the double half hitch. Use the next cord first. We'll go round and through, and round and through, just as we did here. And then the same on the other side. And then with this cord on this side, carry on using all the cords down here. So this cord's now going to wrap around this one, as you can see. Can you see it's that cord on the left going over that one on the right? And then carry on using all these three here on this side. And then we're going to go back this way now. So use this filler cord, turn it, and then we're going to go back. So use this cord to go round it. Keep doing this pattern until you've got 3 zigzags and then stop. Now I'm going to do the same on this side. And then we're going to bring these two together in the centre here. And do a double overhand knot with the very first 2 cords. So it comes together like that. Use these 4 cords in the centre to do a square knot. And then grab the 4 on the left, including the 2 underneath the square knot, and do another square knot. And then the 4 on the right, including the 2 underneath that square knot in the centre, and do another square knot. Then bring these 2 on either side, so 4 in total, and do another square knot, using these 2 on the centre as your filler cords, and then the next 2 as your working cords. So as you can now, when you've done that last square knot, we're going to do a wrap knot just underneath it. So take the short, we're going to take 1 metre cord of emerald green, put a short length down, and then you should have one that's a long, so you should have the length like this. One's long, one short. Then you pop all the cords together that you're going to wrap, get your long length, and you just start wrapping it around. All the cords like this. Make sure your loop, make sure your loop is still out the top like that, and now put this cord through that loop when you've done about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've done about 8 wraps. Now push this cord, this one, down until the loop disappears, and pull the top one a bit so it secures. Cut the top and cut the bottom. Now poke them in, them ends that you've just done, and there is your wrap knot. Now I'm going to add 1 metre lengths
to this part here first. So these are 1 metre emerald green lengths. I'm going to pop it to this part here, just above the macrame pouch in a reverse lark's head knot. That's 4 to each side. Then leave 1 and add more emerald green to the top part here. Now I'm adding 1 metre rust lengths to these 2 parts here. Now I'm going to add 5 1 metre lengths in natural to each side of the centre design, so that's 10 in total. Now get your 50 centimetres of wire and wrap it round the bottom of your Dreamcatcher shape twice, so make sure you've got enough wire to wrap it round twice like that, so it's very secure. Like so. Then we're going to add our beads to the wire. So add 1 of your rust beads, 1 of your coloured beads, 1 of your natural beads. Again, a rust and a natural, a rust and another natural. Then just make sure your wire's pointing up so the beads don't come off. Grab the 16-inch mooncatcher and cut that loop off that you put on before. And now we're going to wrap the end of this wire. This bit can be a bit tricky, so you can do it on the floor if you need to. So now we're going to wrap this part around the top of the moon. So make sure you've got the middle of the top of your mooncatcher, so then it sits nicely. I think I need to go through this loop here. Might need somebody to help you with this part because it can be a bit tricky. Somebody to hold it for you. And then I'm going to wrap round like this with the wire. Keep going through, be very careful not to pierce your web. I'm going to go around 3 times. Around the bottom. If you've got any excess you can cut off. Now we're going to start to add 8 natural lengths to each side. So try and make sure that it's not overlapping your moon at the bottom. That it just kind of falls next to it like that. So these are all 2 metre lengths. I'm doing 4 to each side. Be very gentle with it, because once it's on the wall, you don't want to be pulling too hard on it, because this will come undone. And then next I've got 140 centimetre lengths, and the emerald green I'm going to do 5 to each side. So these are 140 centimetres. Now I'm adding 4 120 centimetre lengths. 4 to each side, so 8 in total in the natural. And then add 5 1 metre length rust lengths. 5 to each side. So that's 10 in total. These are 1 metre lengths. And lastly, add 4 1 metre lengths to each side, 8 in total in the natural, which is your first colour. Now I'm going to take some sharp scissors and just cut the ends to make it all look very neat.
You and me were meant to be.